Hello, everybody, or no one, which is more likely no one, but that's fine. I just, instead of uploading it and doing it the thing, I thought I would just jack it up a little bit. So, I mean, there's been people from the gardening aspect that have talked about like seed storing and propagation, and it's one of the things that I'm really big into is making my own seeds, because if I think about if there really was an end time event or a catastrophe, how are you going to continue year over year? And it's kind of how my mind thinks, being a strategic thinker and having been doing strategic type things in my life. I think about okay, great, this is this year, but what about next year? What about the year after that? What about the year after that? And I think that's where one of the things for me is where the rule of threes comes in big, which if you've heard it on other videos, I said it before on bears, but if you have 3 ways to make fire, you have 2 ways. If you have 2 ways, you have 1 way. If you have 1 way, you have no way to make fire. And I think it's a great way to sit and plan. I think about the same thing with my seeds. Like, I want to adapt. First I want to adapt all my plants to my environment that I'm in. You have no idea where those seeds were grown at when you get them from Burpee, or you get them from whoever. You don't know where you got them from, or where they grew them at. So they could have been grown in Ohio, and I'm then now trying to plant them in Texas. That's 2 completely different places. Like you're gonna have issues the first year that you plant them. You're gonna have issues, and so if I'm going to get new seeds, I'm going to try a new plant. One of the things that I do is that, okay, I'm planting this to propagate seeds primarily, whether it's any types of lettuce or kale or beets, but you need to know how. And there's a book out there that'll help you. Okay, there's a book out there that's called Seed to Seed. It's kind of a tough read, because it's really technical, almost like it's made for like a scientist type person to look at. But I think you can decode it enough. It tells you nuances like things like turnips or carrots, that it's not you don't get seeds in the first year. It's the next year after that. So you leave them in the ground over the year, and you get the seeds after that. I'm good, brother. I'm just on the phone. I saw him too. Yeah, I don't know who he is. Oh, all right. Take care. It's one of the things I love about living where I'm at, is that we all do that. Like, I came up here because I got signal, decided to park, and I'm sitting there parked, and some guy comes up and stops and checks on me, there's a dog out in the road that I saw earlier, but like, that's the type of place I'm at, far enough outside of the city that people do that. And here comes a van around the corner, and this is a delivery guy, and I guarantee he goes straight. But anyway, first you need to get some literature on how to propagate your seed. One of the tips I'll tell you guys is that there's motion at my front door. Now there's a ring at my front door. One of the things I'll tell you is that you don't need to spend the money that you spend buying seeds from seed places. Here's one of the things you can do for a lot of the staple stuff. So like things like beans. Go to a Sprouts. Go to a Sprouts or Whole Foods, or one of those stores that have like, you know, that's what they tout, is that they have you know, the organic blah 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 whatever. There's a pile of pinto beans there that you're getting for, you know, $1 a pound or whatever it is. Buy a couple pounds of it, put it in a bag, throw it in the freezer. Like, you'll spend $2 or $3 or maybe $5, whatever it is, but nothing. And if you got to put it in the ground, you might not have a certified 94% germination rate. But you're going to germinate. I mean, most of it's going to germinate. So, you know, that's one of the things I would say about, you know, seeds themselves. A, you got to figure out what you like. B, you got to figure out how are you going to go year to year. You know, if you're planting 100 linear feet of whatever it is, and 80% of that feeds your family, you're counting on 20% of it to fail. Where's the percentage that's going to be for seed that you can plant the year after? So, you know, it's a little bit more deep thinking than just, I'm going to grow my food. You got to think about 20% failure. You got to think about how much seed do I need to grow, as well as what do I need to feed myself. And hopefully feeding yourself is, yeah, I'm feeding myself, but then I got like 20% extra besides that, that I can then can or do other things with. That, oh, in the next year, my corn crop was 60% of what it was the year before, but I have 45 cans, you know, of corn that I canned the year before because it was a good year. So, you know, I mean, I think, you know, questions that I ask myself all the time as I'm thinking about what I'm doing, and how am I going to sustain me and the family. I'm going to do a video on my long-term storage food pantry, you know, that shows you what I've got put away, which is way more than we need. But the purpose of it, and I'll get into this later from a semi-suburban standpoint, my purpose is not that that's for me to feed the family. My purpose is for my concept of driving a community together, starting a central location for food distribution, and sustaining a small-scale neighborhood in the event of a disaster. So we'll talk more about it. You know, still getting my feet wet. I can't wait to talk about the food preservation stuff, because I actually really like doing that stuff a lot. I think it's underlooked, under talked about, because it's not cool. It's cool to me. I think it's cool. When I'm eating red beans and rice with TVP beef and it tastes as good as what I get in New Orleans, that's pretty cool. So hope you guys have a great day. I got some videos coming on my rainwater capture system and my fall garden with all the root crops and stuff coming. So you know, keep an eye out for them, and love you guys. You know, keep working and fighting this fight, because hopefully not in our lifetimes, but I feel like it's coming more than ever. I feel like it's coming, and it's coming sooner than it is going to come later. So take care of yourselves, take care of your families, do the things you need to do. Love you.